Hey there, Cheesemeisters, and welcome back to the Peace Pod After Dark. I am Jeff, and tomorrow I shall be a hero of the Soviet Union. And joining me on the other end of the internet, my cuz-host.
I'm Leslie, and I'm with the economy tour.
Yeah, the economy tour has to swim through the crocodiles or whatever.
Yes.
I don't know, this movie's fucking silly. All
Roger
right,
Moore and crocodiles.
is that a thing? Does he
I
do
mean,
that a
he
lot?
he walks over them and live and let die.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I thought you were saying something about like his choice of footwear or something. Like he's a big
Oh, I mean,
crocodile shoe.
he was wearing alligator shoes in that scene.
Well, see there. I mean, I think that's just insulting. Like that's just him like rubbing it in their faces.
He was asking for it.
I think he was showing his dominance. That was him flexing on the crocodiles or whatever. It's like, look, I'm wearing your sister.
That's terrible.
Eh. Um, according to some people, so is this movie. So that was called a segue. So this week, Cheesemeisters, we are doing Octopussy, the 1983 Doctor Strangelove meets the Pink Panther masterpiece, starring Roger Moore in his sixth and penultimate Bond film, Maud Adams as the titular Octopussy, which I don't know if you speak scientific jargon, but that means eight pussies. That's just
Yikes.
science. Louis Jordan, Christina Wayborn, and Stephen Burkhoff. Victor Maitland himself. Did you clock Victor Maitland?
I did. I got excited. I was like, this guy again.
I know Victor Maitland is he's no longer smuggling drugs in coffee grounds. He is trying to escalate nuclear Armageddon.
Like
I don't
you.
know. It's a whole thing going on in this movie with Victor Maitland. Our spelling connection this week is Maud Adams. She was in a whole bunch of spelling things, Hotel, among others. And apparently she's in like 8 different James Bond movies.
Yes, I did
Like,
see that.
I was like, well, how is the title character in one movie a background character in 6 others? She's not playing Octopussy in any of those other, but just the actress. It's really weird.
No, I know. Because I was like, she looks familiar. I had that with a lot of people, and then I realized I haven't seen them in anything else but this. But with her, I went, "Oh, you're the other chick in like the man with the golden gun."
Sure, which is weird. Like maybe she graduated, like maybe she like worked her way up the Bond woman ranks to become the title character. I don't. She's great. I mean, she's
Yeah.
fun as Octopussy. Um, I'd say in that title. I okay. Here's the thing about the title of this movie. How come
Why?
nobody is like, why did you? Huh? Like, I watched Siskel and Ebert talk about this movie on at the movies. Like, somebody sent me a clip of it because I told them we were watching it. And I know I sometimes I'll think to go look and see what good old Raj wrote up about his encounters with different films, but I don't often think to go and actually watch the clip of At the Movies, which is a show I loved and a show you probably never saw.
No.
Um, but Siskel was thumbs up, Ebert was thumbs down. Neither one of them flagged that the title of the movie is Octopussy. Like neither one of them were like, you know what's weird about this movie? It's called Octopussy.
I'm gonna sound. I should sound rational, but I may sound snobby to some people for a
Do it.
minute. But like, it's movies like this that make me wonder why I question my writing ability because I mean, it was so the title alone is so juvenile. I'm like, you really couldn't think of anything else?
They didn't
Or
even
like
think of it. They
come up with some explanation, like come up with a crafty explanation because I mean, no one in this, maybe Roger Moore, no one in this was trying to sell these words. People like when
mm.
she turns around and goes, "That's my little octopussy."
Right.
It was maybe more bland than that. Although whoever did her ADR was also like might have been coat check girl. I don't know. Someone
Yeah.
pulled and like, you have a sexier voice than this woman. We need you. Okay.
Yeah. That what I did notice a lot of ADR on her dialogue. What's her name? She wasn't Octopussy. She was the other.
Christina.
No, the character. I mean,
The character's name is Magda.
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 Yeah. Um. So yeah, I guess I don't even know where to start with this movie. Um. So let's start here. Before we get to this movie specifically, let's start with your Bond history. What is your history of watching James Bond movies? Because I got the impression that it was like a family affair.
Yes,
Okay.
oddly enough. I think Spike TV one summer, maybe not even Spike, it might have been. It doesn't really matter. Either way, there was a Bond on every Saturday night for one summer.
Okay.
And so we started watching them, and that's how I got into James Bond. I know it's one of those areas people are like usually surprised that I tolerate them. And I even wrote down at one point, like, as I was watching this, I thought, and I've had this debate with people. I don't know why we still make Bond movies because I feel like we
Mhm.
can make better stuff. Like, I get why people still like it. I'm still going to watch them. But
Mhm.
there's a part of it too that I'm like, this is very old. And I think
Mhm.
we have better stuff we can build from now without putting Bond in the title.
Sure. Yeah. I
But
mean,
yeah,
I
all of Roger Moore's Bond movies got us through the pandemic.
nice. Okay. Um. So I've seen all of the Bond movies multiple times. And mostly it's because there would be like a marathon on TBS or something.
Yeah.
And you just plop down and you're like, oh, here's Thunderball again, and you just watch them. So I like James Bond movies. Like I said, I've seen them all more than once. This may only have been the second time I've seen it. I don't know. It's like they very much blur together, James Bond movies.
Yes.
This is the 13th Bond movie and the second to last one starring Roger Moore. And he's dinged a little bit in this one by folks for being old, not as much as he is in A View to a Kill, which is his last Bond movie. Which people are like, dude, this dude Bond is like 60 in this movie. And like, he looks his age and he walks his age and stuff like that.
Oh.
But A View to a Kill is one of my favorite James Bond movies, and it's probably because of the theme song, because I'm a huge Duran Duran fan. I
Mm.
just was like super stoked that Duran Duran had a James Bond theme song, and we'll talk about the theme songs later because this one has a particularly good one. But I went and looked at the rankings on IMDb of James Bond movies to see where this one fell. There are 27 James Bond movies if you count the Peter Sellers Casino Royale movie,
Oh.
which I have not seen. That's the one I haven't seen. Where do you think this one ranks?
Oh, it's not high up. See, and to be clear, I haven't seen all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to now make it, not now, but like I realized recently it's not really fair to Timothy Dalton and the one other one-off guy that I haven't watched
George
theirs. Like
Lazenby. Sure.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was a hater for a minute, and now I'm like, no, these men, I owe it to these. I don't owe it to them. They're fine. Are they alive?
Timothy Dalton is alive. I don't know if George Lazenby's still alive.
Well, either way, I just like to be able to like add things to conversations
Sure.
about Bond.
I got it.
Or I like to be informed. Oh my god, I so steered from the question. Oh, where this ranks?
Yeah.
I don't think I can clearly say because I feel like it was middling, but there were definitely moments where I, like most people nowadays, retreated to my phone and went, well, nothing's happening. I can clearly research some stuff about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So the answer is this and The Man with the Golden Gun are tied with 42% approval ratings on Rotten Tomatoes as the second to worst Bond movie, behind A View to a Kill. Yeah,
wow.
yeah, way down the list. And for this viewing, because we were going to talk about it, I really fought hard to stay away from my phone because I wanted to see if I could follow the plot, which is not
Oh,
something
wow.
I've ever tried to do in a James Bond movie because it doesn't fucking matter. Like,
No.
there's a um I wrote a thing years ago about Indiana basketball, and I was talking about how um oftentimes at the beginning of the season, I want to watch like the exhibition games and get a real good feel for who the team is and that kind of thing. But usually the exhibition games are blowouts. Like you play, lower level schools, and it's really hard to get a gauge on how good your team is. And I want the beginnings of basketball seasons to mean something, like the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? Or the beginning of Raising Arizona, where like the
Yes.
beginning of the movie is this brilliant set piece that sets up the entire thing, puts the whole thing in motion, tells you all the characters, really locks you into the world, all that kind of stuff. But usually those exhibition games are like the beginning of a James Bond movie, where shit blows up and none of it fucking matters. And
Yeah.
and then the credits start and the movie happens. But whatever happens before then is totally disconnected from what happens after. And so I was like, I gotta see if I can follow what's going on in this movie, because all I know about James Bond movies, generally speaking, is like, oh, this is the one with that set piece.
Yeah.
You know?
The circus.
Right. Like, yeah, this one had a circus in it, which is why we're watching it in conjunction with Andrea's dreams about being on a high wire. I didn't know how that had that kind of effect on you. But like what so this one starts and the van or the trailer pulls up with the fake horse's ass, and I'm like, oh, this is the one with the fake horse's ass. I remember this.
Yeah.
And then we watch the fake horse's ass scene where he's like fighting some Cubans, I think, and he gets in like,
oh, yes, because they looked very Fidel Castro.
yeah, they had the Castro hat on and some Castro beard situation happening.
Yes, that's what I mean by Fidel Castro. We people don't come at me.
No, that's fine. Everybody knows. Everybody knows Castro has a beard and a hat. It's a thing. It's fine. Are you, all right? I'm going to say something that like most everybody knows about, but I'm pretty sure you don't because you weren't taught this in school. Are you aware of the many ways that the CIA tried to get Castro, like in the early '60s?
So I'm going to preface my answer real quick because I worked on captions for a documentary about the Cuban Revolution.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So what I know is more about like the other revolutionaries of that time.
Okay.
And that most of the time Fidel was just hiding away in a cave, and that's why he wins. As for your question, no.
Okay.
Sadly, that part was not covered,
Gotcha.
or I blocked it out.
Because there was like this whole thing where like one of the plots was like to do something to make his beard fall out. Like, yeah, our plans are, they're not Bond level plans sometimes, what we try to get up to. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
It's diabolical.
Well, it's fucking silly is what it is, but.
Yeah.
It's so bad for his brand. No one will be able to recognize him.
Who can follow a leader that they don't even recognize?
I know, this is crazy. All right, so I am. So here's what I want to know. After watching this, because I'm gonna try something that I'm gonna fail at here in just a few minutes, and I'm kind of psyching myself up for it, which is I'm going to try to describe the plot of this movie.
Oh God.
Which is gonna be I don't even fucking know how this is gonna go, but I watched this one this time, um, and this movie is fucking silly, like on purpose silly. Like there are like Bond has always been wink wink double entendre, right? Like he's always been saying things that are like meant to be suave, sexy things. Um and but they're like a little bit of a joke, all the time. This movie is just jokes. Like the action sequences are jokes. Um it is it's borderline Pink Panther. It
Yes.
really is.
Agreed.
And so what I'm wondering, having watched this, is was I wrong about Bond movies my whole life? Are Bond movies all very silly? Because I thought Bond movies were like cool action movies about spy shit and gadgets and sexy dames and uh, you know witty repartee and no, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die, and like you know like danger and action and like are they all fucking silly? Because like
I think so.
they might be, but like the I would say like not the Daniel Craig ones, except for like one of the Daniel Craig ones is just Home Alone.
Skyfall?
Like, yes, and that's the number 5 ranked James Bond movie on Rotten Tomatoes, 92%. And it's just fucking Home Alone.
Listen, when you have Adele singing the cover, immediately you get 20 points boost.
I guess, but I mean, that movie didn't even have Marv and other Marv in it. And people fucking love it. And I feel like it's that look, I didn't think Home Alone was all that funny, but like is Skyfall? I don't know. So like I feel like I don't know if I've been watching James Bond wrong my entire life. If I was supposed to be going, this is some silly bullshit. Because this movie is some silly bullshit.
Maybe that's why boomers are such cornballs, because they heard all of this and they thought it was okay and suave, and really it's just harassment.
I think it predates Bond. I think
Well, yeah.
that the cornball stuff is much more a result of growing up watching Bob Hope.
Oh.
Like that kind of Borscht Belt comedian was like kind of like those jokes are silly as fuck.
Yeah.
And like I'm not even sure Bob Hope is telling jokes most of the time, but he was real popular. So I think you grow up on that kind of stuff. Like you don't even get Lucy until the 50s when your boomers were kids, so they start growing up on Lucy a little bit, but all the stuff that they grew up when they were real little is it's
Wink, wink,
it's
nudge, nudge.
kind of, yeah, it's
Say no more, say no more.
well, that's great though. It's because it's a send up of that stuff.
Exactly. Love Monty Python here.
No to me, nudge, nudge. A nod's as good as a wink to a blind bat. All right.
You need to summarize this movie.
I'm not going to say that I'm a brave man. I'm not going to say that I've taken a lot of chances. I'm not even sure that I have a certain amount of daring do, to quote Monty Python. So this might be the bravest thing I've ever done. Trying to describe what happens in this fucking movie. And it's going to be real hard. All right, so here we go.
You got this.
I don't got this. I got nothing.
If you fail, I'm going to come in and bastardize it and make it even shorter
Awesome.
than what you're trying, because I love trying to do short summaries.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not. Who said short?
No, I know. I know.
All right. So, Castro shit happens, and Bond gets in a plane inside of a horse's ass and flies out of Cuba. Right? Don't know what he was trying to accomplish with the Fidel Castro of it all, but he got away. Um, then there's a circus, and there's a clown who's running away with a Fabergé egg, and he is shot and not shot and killed. He is knifed and killed by twin assassins who
Yes.
throw knives, whose names are, and I'm only looking it up because they rhyme, and it makes me happy. Let's see. There is. Oh, what the fuck? In here they call them Twin 1 and Twin 2. That's not. They were like Glinko and Blinko or something.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's something silly. I mean, they're Russian, so whatever. You know, you can have some silly ass Russian names. Um, okay, so the twin knife wielding assassins. We're gonna go with Ginkgo and Blinko. They kill the clown, or they knife him up good, but not so good that he can't get from where he is floating in the river to the British embassy, where there is no security. Lots of guys with guns, but no security. And clown guy crashes through the window, drops the Fabergé egg, and dies. Turns out, clown guy was 009. Okay? And this egg was a fake. Somebody's out there Fabergéing some Fabergé eggs. And so they're like, we got to figure out what's happening with this global conspiracy to sell fake eggs, I guess. And the only reason we care potentially is because 009 got killed, but I don't even know. So they send Bond to the auction where the real egg is going to be auctioned off. And then in the one room with less security than the British embassy, Bond is able to swap out in front of everybody the real egg for the fake egg. And jack the bidding up so that Kamal Khan, who's Afghan, I suppose, based on the words I saw written somewhere.
Yes.
Making him pay like $500,000 for the real egg, but slips him the fake one. And then Bond takes the real egg back to Q and whatnot. At some point, because I don't remember when this happened, there's a cutaway to a bunch of Russians sitting around a table.
Yes.
And they're talking about Russia shit, whatever they're doing. And this guy, this Victor Maitland Jagoff, is like, look, I get it, all you guys who want peace with the West. But could I interest you in the exact opposite? What if we blew up a nuclear device in West Germany? And I'm not even sure if he lays this whole plan out, but this is what his plan is. Yeah. We're going to set off a nuclear device in West Germany inside the U.S. military base. Everyone's going to think that it was a U.S. bomb that went off, and go, oh shit, everybody needs nukes now. I don't understand how what that plan was there, but he's like, but this is what I want to do, and they're all like, listen up, Victor Maitland. Why don't you go back to smuggling cocaine in coffee grounds? Because that's fucking crazy. We don't want any part of it. And he's like, noted, but also I'm probably going to do that anyway. And you know how I'm going to do it? It turns out all this time, you guys, I'm not telling you this, but I have been creating, I've been creating counterfeit Russian jewelry to replace the real Russian jewelry that I've been selling on the black market using Kamal Khan and this lady named Octopussy. Don't laugh. That's just her name. Shut up. That's what Victor says to Russia. Yeah. And so like that's happening. Like he's got this whole blow things up plan. But as far as I can tell, Bond doesn't know that. Right? He doesn't know that that's happening. Maybe he does, and I just fucking missed it, but whatever. So then he takes Bond, switcheroos the eggs, takes the egg back to Q, where there's some boner jokes, and Q puts a tracker in the egg that connects to Bond's Apple Watch, and then and there's a microphone in it that attaches to Bond's AirPods, and then Bond hooks up with. Does Magda. He hook up with Magda? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And Magda steals the egg, but that's what Bond wanted her to do. And she takes it with her back to Khan's mountain retreat or wherever the fuck he is. And so Bond can track the egg now with using his Apple Watch. And but he doesn't need to, because Khan is like, you know what we should do? We should kidnap James Bond and bring him here. So he does. And so I don't know why Bond needed to like do the egg tracer Apple Watch situation, but he does. He does that thing and he gets there. And they have dinner because, you know, got to be a good host. And then there's like a secret conversation about the plans or something that Bond overhears through his AirPods, and the microphone planted in the real Why did they give him the real egg? Why are you fucking around with a real Fabergé egg? Put the microphone in the fake one. No one knows the difference. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's listening and he hears. I don't even know what he hears. He hears some shit, and then he escapes, or
Ish.
Yeah. Okay. So and then Khan goes and meets with Octopussy, and this is where we learn that there is someone named Octopussy, like halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
And she is the. It feels like she's the one in charge of like selling all the merchandise.
She is.
Yeah.
She's the head of the women's smuggler crew.
Right.
Some of which are dressed like the Incredibles.
Oh, they're dressed like the Incredibles, or what I thought of was the Greatest American Hero.
Oh, I don't know that.
You should Google it up. It's Believe It or Not, I'm Walking on Air. You should.
Okay.
Greatest American Hero is great.
I should hope so.
Did you watch Curb?
No, I want to.
Oh, there's this wonderful episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where Richard Lewis is sick, and his nurse, he thinks his nurse is stealing from him. He thinks that she has stolen a signed baseball from him. And his nurse, it turns out that that Larry's manager, Jeff, had an affair with her. Jeff sleeps with everybody. And she was like, she didn't have a very good opinion of Jeff. She thought he had a small... but he's like, no, it's not that, Larry. She has a huge vagina.
Oh my God.
Huge vagina. He does this, which is so funny.
Yeah.
And they think that she stole the ball by sticking it in her huge vagina.
Oh my God.
Which is so funny. And then I think that she did, because they call Lewis's cell phone and it rings from her pants at the end of the episode. It's so great. Anyway, I feel like that's what the Octopussy ladies are doing with their huge vaginas. They're just smuggling eggs. Like, that's how they're doing it.
You all know that it doesn't matter the size, because a certain size head has to be able to get out. And your body doesn't think about that when it's creating that.
It's still funnier if she has a huge vagina.
Of course it is, because men can't handle any knock to their member.
No, well, sure. Some people prefer to have their members knocked. I'm just saying. Don't kink shame. That's not what we do here. Enjoy getting your member knocked, everybody. Anyway, back to what the fuck is going on in this movie. So,
We've met Octopussy.
We've met Octopussy. She does. She has an octopus. Magna has. Oh, that's my Octopussy. A little.
That was still too much feeling.
It's a rub-on. Like that's not even a real tattoo. Like that was one of those things that you get in a Cracker Jack box, and you rub it on your hand, and that you've got like a fake tattoo. That's what she had. That's my Octopussy. All right.
That's my little Octopussy.
And then.
That's exactly
once more with less feeling. All right, and then all right, so now I don't even know what the fuck happens. I've lost it. I don't know what happens in this movie. I made it about halfway through. I made it till we met the title character. And then there's an awesome scene where he sleeps with Octopussy and she uses her wrap to no,
that's Magda.
Magda does that? Oh, that's how she steals it. That's right. That is like my favorite bit in the whole movie. That is a great.
No, that was great.
That's a really cool set piece. And she runs off.
Yep.
Gets away with the real egg, but then we already past that. I don't know. Then a bunch of shit happens, and then at the end, James Bond. Explain to me, if you could. Okay, they're going to smuggle a big old bunch of jewelry inside the circus trains. And Victor Maitland is trying to smuggle that out to make money or something.
Sure.
But he's also got his second train set up. Is there a switcheroo? I don't even know. And the second train has the nuclear bomb in it. And then they get, I don't know, something happens. And he tells Octopussy is with the bomb, but she thinks she's with the jewels or something. I think she thinks that he's smuggling jewels in the circus and she's going to get him and go. But what he's really doing is going to blow up this bomb inside the circus tent.
Yep.
And Bond shows up dressed like a clown because, it worked so well for 009. Probably should do it again.
Right.
And he stops the bomb. And that's where I think the movie is.
Seconds to spare.
Right, yeah. Which is not as good as, I think it's Goldfinger, where he stops the bomb with 7 seconds left to spare. So it says 007 when he stops the bomb, which is, he should do that all the time. And I thought that was like the end of the movie. But then Octopussy and her army of lady ninja people go up and circus the shit out of who's are they getting Khan's house
out of his man cave.
Yeah. And does he die?
I hated this.
I didn't understand. I had to rewind. I'm like, what? Wait, what happened? How did we end up with the attack squad?
Because here's the thing. The team is doing great, but the leader, they had to do the thing back in those days of like, oh, the woman can be the leader until she can't. Because not only do they knock her out, there's another moment where his henchman like full on bitch slaps her, and I went, of course, it wouldn't be a Bond movie without bitch slapping a woman.
You gotta bitch slap somebody. Come on.
That's where, okay, bitch slap Khan. Man does nothing, but it's the thing of, okay, men, ha ha ha, like these women are leaders because women can be leaders, but at the end of the day, we still dominate. That's the feeling I got. That's why I hated it. And I'm not even that mad about their outfits, but I'm sure it was like hella uncomfortable, and I'll get to that more in Adventures in Intimacy. Okay.
So I have no idea how we get, like, I really understood the story up until the fake egg where both Bond and the bad guy have the same plan, which is let's get Bond over here where the bad guy is. Like, I don't know why they both have the same plan. And you know how we're going to do it? Fucking Magda. That's how we're going to do it. Which, as plans go, I think that's a good plan for James.
Sure.
You know, like, I'm going to go catch the bad guy, but first, bone it. That's a really good plan. I like it.
That's how he gets his powers.
Well, I mean, Popeye has spinach. James has at least 8 pussies, according to this movie.
Here's the other thing I hated about the ending. I forgot this key point, but it's that James has to save her.
Oh, sure. Well, he has to save everybody. He's the hero. And plus, she's a criminal. I mean, she smuggles jewelry in her huge vagina. So
he's currently the love of her life. He's the lady of the week,
right?
Of the month, maybe if they're lucky.
Oh, you think she gets a whole month? I mean, she does have 8 different pussies to try out, so that could take some time.
Here.
I didn't realize they were oddly placed. I thought they were just interchangeable.
Like a vibrator?
Like do you know the song Detachable Penis? Same thing. Oh, it's a great song. It's a song by a band called King Missile called Detachable Penis. I highly recommend that everybody listen to it. Detachable Penis. It's really good. It's about a guy whose penis is detachable.
I gathered that.
Yeah, they put it right there in the title. So it's like this. Like, oh, 8 pussies. Detachable penis. I get it. All right. So that's what happens in this movie. But it's the other thing that struck me about it, and that again, all James Bond movies are at least that complicated. Like, I can't follow the plot in any of them. I don't know what any of them are about. I know there's a bad guy trying to do a bad guy thing, and Bond trying to stop him, and ladies. And that's all I got. And sometimes it's a bridge too far for me. Sometimes I go, that's fucking stupid. Like Goldeneye, the thing at the beginning where where the plane goes over and he catches the plane as he's falling. I'm like, I'm not sure that's how physics works, but okay. And then there are that's the one that I find the most ridiculous, is that plane catch up thing. But then there's like the one with the invisible car, where I'm just like, what the fuck, the invisible car? That's so stupid. So sometimes these things are far too dumb for me, where I just go, nope, that was a bridge too far, James Bond. Albert R. Broccoli and family. Just silly. I can't do with it. This one was a straight up comedy.
Yes.
Where they're trying to play the danger is real and the sexiness is real, but and the story is real, but all the set pieces are silly. Like the chase scene through India, where VJ is driving his little taxi and like really having a good time. Like, that dude is having so much fun, and thumbs up for VJ.
Yep.
But that action sequence, there's a tennis racket involved. And every time he hits somebody with the tennis racket, they cut to the crowd going, like turning their head side to side like they're watching a tennis match. I'm like, that's just jokes.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a James Bond movie with some like wink wink, haha.
He even says game set
yes match. Wait, it's just, although I will say for game set match, shouts to Lynn Dayton, who has a series of books that are game set and match. They're spy novels from roughly around this time. It's Berlin Game, London's Mexico set, London match, something like that. Like, there's 3 different cities game set match, and they're all like first person spy stories, which are quite enjoyable. And I read one of them because, have you seen? I don't think you have. We've talked about this. I think you haven't seen Jackie Brown, have you?
No, I haven't.
Good. Max Cherry is reading one of those books while he waits to pick up because he's a bondsman, while he waits to pick somebody up from jail. He's reading one of those books, and I'm like, I got to read that book because like Tarantino doesn't do shit by accident, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering sort of why he put that in there. Still don't know. It's a pretty straightforward spy story. I think it's just a book he liked. Is kind of my guess.
Might be.
But anyway, game set match. But there's just silliness in this movie. Like it's a comedy.
Yes, it is.
But I didn't see anyone review it as such.
No,
you know, no one was like, this movie's silly on purpose, like beyond tiny little double innuendos. Like, this is double entendres. All the innuendos, triple them, octopus them, a lot of them. No one is like, this movie's trying to be funny, and it is. I don't think it is funny, but I think it's trying to be funny, which is weird.
I definitely laughed sometimes. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I laughed at the effort. You know, like, yes. I was like, oh, I see what you guys with your silly little jokes. Like, I feel like this is, like, Austin Powers is a parody of James Bond movies, obviously. But I think Octopussy is also a parody of James Bond movies.
Absolutely.
It just came first. All right. Do you have things to say about the plot that I tried so hard to explain?
No, not at all.
All right. There was some intimacy in this movie and some adventures. So let's put those two things together.
Oh boy. I was very excited to talk about James Bond because obviously intimacy is one of the key things people remember about it is, oh, he gets all the ladies, or, you know, forces the ladies. There was definitely a no to a yes moment near when he first gets with Octopussy, and I was like, ooh, I know a lot of my IC friends who would be like, not choreographing
right.
that. So this movie had a lot of things. We had you know, some bad kissing. Specifically, like when he and Magda get together, she was just full on open mouth Betty.
We call that the Tory.
Oh, okay, cool. Does Tori also keep her eyes open? Because there was a lot of
I like that.
Open while kissing in this, and it was strange. And I thought, are you trying to see how long you all have to kiss? Because I don't think this is something you all are naturally doing, or maybe you're nervous.
We'll fix it in post.
Something's happening.
We'll close her eyes in post. When we redub all of her lines, we'll also magically close her eyes. We'll do that.
Sure. So I found that strange. And the longer I was watching it, I thought, you know, the one good thing about being an actress of this time, going in for like either a Bond audition or getting a Bond job is, for once, you most likely know you're going to have to be scantily clad. Whereas it's only just now been, not just now, I would say within the last year or two, it's only just now been made into a SAG rule that you can't ask for nudity in auditions. People have to know what nudity or intimacy is called for in a script for a character. If possible, by auditions. If not, then they need to know by like casting, you know, things that seem obvious and, you know, logical, but at least with Bond, even though I still wish they had known, but I have a feeling most women going into a Bond movie were like, well, I better stop eating because it's the 60s and we don't really diet other than crash dieting. So
now I have a question. I'm going to audition for this role. Will there be nudity or near nudity? I understand the character's name is Octopussy.
Yes.
Please explain the nudity involved with Octopussy.
Which, you know, again, we're kind of, I don't know if you noticed, but I do notice in these films there is a hierarchy to how clothed you get to be. And as the lead woman in this, she gets to be the most clothed.
Mm.
You know? Like, I don't think there's even a maneuvering the blanket scene, which is now how I'm going to refer to post-coitus.
Right.
You know, Magda has that, but
Right.
Octopussy doesn't, I don't think. Or at least, no, if she does,
don't they have 2 sex scenes together?
They do,
Doesn't she and Bond twice?
Yeah, but it's always the leading up when she's still fully dressed.
Oh, okay.
And then maybe after when he's at the window and she's put on her robe, like she's always fairly covered. Now, maybe in The Man with the Golden Gun, she's less covered because I don't know if you would say she's the lead woman in that, but either way, there's a hierarchy here. And it's interesting to see. I thought about how we had a situation in this movie where you would have needed a fight and intimacy person at the same time because you have these women having to fight in very little clothing.
Right.
And, you know, you have to know, like, whoever you're fighting has to know where they can, like, hit at you, or if there is supposed to be a grab, where they can grab you, and, like, how to avoid grabbing vital parts.
Sure. Spleens and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you know,
do that.
There was a moment where the henchman guy, you know, the first time he knocks out, he like hits her in the neck. It's weird. It did not look good at all. But then he like potato sacks her and his hand is on her butt. And I thought, see, you needed a fight or an intimacy person there to be like, you can put your hand over here. Or I guess if like, oh, are you okay with his hand there? Okay, then I guess if that's naturally where the hand is going, I don't see why that would be a thing. But again, I have to rely on what the actors consent to.
Right.
But I definitely noticed that. I was like, his hand is on her ass. In a weird way. Like it.
Right.
You can just flip someone over, and usually you see someone's hand on like the other person's lower back.
Right.
Or around their legs to hold them. So.
Right. I think I would go for lower back until my shoulder got tired, and then I would shift to legs. I think that would be the way.
I mean, you can do one on both, like one around because you have two.
Right. I feel like you probably are carrying a suitcase or something in the other hand.
Oh, okay, fair.
You know, like it's very rare, I think, to only have to carry a body. Right.
Speak
I think
for yourself.
That's my impression. Is like you're also probably like you got the body and you probably also need a shovel or something.
Maybe.
There, you know, like because what are you going to do with the body once you get it there if you don't have other things to like deal with it? Like
you're gonna
a gas can.
You're gonna throw it on the couch with the other body.
It's true. It's 2 corpses. Everything's fine.
I have to note my favorite intimate moment was at the very end because it was so smooth. And not in like I would have fallen for this. It was comical and smooth at the same time. You know, he's injured and she's pawing at him, even though the first time they did it, she told him no, and he, you know, turned that into a yes, whatever.
Movie magic.
Sure. But, you know, all of a sudden he knocks down all the injury accoutrement to show that he's strong, grabs her, rolls. It was great. I loved it. I love a grab and roll to a kiss.
It's now that you mentioned that scene, that's also for lulls because his leg is up in the air, like his leg is a boner. Like that's the whole reason his leg is up in the air like that in the cast. And then he's like, "Guess what? That was a fake boner. Here's the real one." Yeah. So yeah, even Bond being injured at the end is a gag, you know, sexy gag, but a gag.
And in that moment, you really would have had to do some sort of choreography. Like I don't, because there were too many things involved.
Right.
You have to get the cast and stuff down. You have to grab the person, roll them
Hmm.
over, and get on top of them, and make it look sexy.
Right. And keep everybody covered, and
Well,
all of that stuff.
and they were dressed in that scene because he
Right.
has on like his pajamas. She
Sure.
has, again, she's covered because she's the lead woman.
Mm.
She has played her part, working her way up through the case system of Bond girls, which is
Right.
lady not appearing in this film except for her midriff,
Right.
and her legs.
Opening credit lady.
Oh my god! I was watching that and I went, "Are they naked?"
They're not. It's bodysuits, but they're meant to look naked.
Okay, that makes me feel better because I really thought like, did they make these women? Did they have these women suit this nude? And granted, I'm a dancer. I've worked with other dancers. Sometimes dancers, because of how you are constantly like in each other's business and everything, people seem to think that like, yeah, my body is whatever. I don't care if you see me naked, even though like all of that is just repressing.
Sure.
Like making your body more of a machine than a feeling functional thing.
Right. The tool.
Yeah, I'm really glad to know that they were in bodysuits because they were sheer.
I think sometimes, like when it's like a shot of the stomach or something, probably.
Well, yes.
Most of the leg stuff probably, but there's one of the women is laying on her side where you can see like side boobage.
Yes.
And that she's definitely wearing some kind of a sheer bodysuit.
Well, and that the side boob is exactly why I wondered because again, you're seeing all the curves.
Mhm.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you can look on the internet to find what curves I'm talking about.
Boobs.
And nipples, or boob
Yes.
pads, as
Yeah.
Chris Traeger calls them.
Boob pads. I like that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, though there is a little nipplage there, and that's why I was like, it doesn't. Bond has always been a we're going to suggest the sex, never show the sex, but they suggest it and they a lot. But there's never been nudity in Bond. Like they've always been like PG-13 movies, but the opening credit sequences are meant to look as sexy as possible.
I will say they do some of the best maneuvering the blanket because they were like, no, you're not wearing a bra. We're not lying to the people about what happened here. You're going to just have to, sometimes too, I feel like they can tape it, although I don't know if they would have had that ability or the right kind of tape back then. It may be down to the actor.
Right, it might be, yeah.
But again, at least, no, I'm not going to make excuses for this. I liked the intimacy in this to a point. All the eye stuff was weird. Obviously stuff can look better, but it was a different time. And I spoke my piece about what I would do or what I thought about.
There you go. All right, well, let's tie our wrap to the balcony and fall down into Needle Drop Forest. So the Bond theme for this is All Time High, performed by Rita Coolidge, and lyrics by your boy Tim Rice.
Oh!
Yep, I know he's your favorite. So, how do you feel about All Time High as a Bond theme song?
I can't help but be let down that the title is not
It's not in there.
The song. Like I take such umbrage with that. I'm like, really? If you're gonna, and I'm not saying as someone who has tried to write a song featuring Octopussy, how much can you say about Debussy? Like,
right. Yeah, Octopussy.
How much can you say about the color puce? See?
Right.
Lucy?
Talk to Gary Busey. I I was talking to Busey about Octopussy.
There was a ruse, see?
Yeah, see, it's difficult. You can do it. You can rhyme Octopussy with things.
You can. I don't know, actually, because the kind of song you're going to come out with is, again, like this movie, trying to be funny.
Right. You'd be Mock the Goose. Yeah. Yeah. No, it'd be difficult.
There is a word in the song, It's Turkey Lurkey Time, where they say, it's Goosey Poosey time.
There you go. And then...
It's Octopussy time. Oh no, I just ruined my favorite holiday song.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I will say this, though. I like this song.
No, this song is good.
It's a really good song. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I understand. I would put this maybe as the 4th best Bond theme song.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But I will tell you that I couldn't tell you. I know Adele did one. I don't fucking know what it is.
How do you not remember Let the Sky Fall?
It's fine, I guess. I know Madonna did one, but I didn't. Whatever. But here are my top 4, and I think in order. Number 1, of course, is A View to a Kill, because I fucking love Duran Duran.
Oh, not what I thought you were going to say.
I love Duran Duran so much. A View to a Kill is a banger. Then Live and Let Die.
Of course.
Which is great and so fun to see in concert, and explosions, and it's great. Then The Spy Who Loved Me. Nobody Does It Better. Love that song. Yeah. And then All Time High, I think, is number 4. Anything that happens after that, I'm like, I think all of those are Roger Moore movies. Like, the Roger Moore, for all of his Bond sins, and like that it's a little over the top campy, like Moonraker is a fucking like what if Star Wars but James Bond. That movie's fucking silly. And not but rated higher than this. I'm going to see where Moonraker is on here. Moonraker.
I'm a little surprised and sad that there's no Shirley Bassey on your list, but that's fine.
Which one is that one?
She did so many of the originals. She did Diamonds Are Forever. She did Goldfinger.
Yeah, those are fun. I just don't like. I do like the wah wah wah. And for that, that's pretty great.
Instrumentals. Sam Smith did a similar thing where, like, that song gets me, but a lot of it is because of the instrumentals behind it.
Which one did he do? It's one of the.
Oh, this is another one. Yeah, this was the most recent one.
Spectre?
Yes.
No, Spectre was not the most recent one. No Time to Die was the most recent one.
It was that. Well, it was one of them.
Yeah.
You know what? No, it's going to bother me, and I have to look it up. But there was another one where they didn't really have writings on the wall. That's what the song's called.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's possible that like some of these songs are better than the ones that I said, but I don't think they are, because those 4 are like fucking catchy sing along, like.
And that was for Spectre.
Spectre, okay, which was kind of, I don't know. I don't think people like Spectre very much. They didn't dislike it as much as Octopussy. But
see, this is where, again, people say they want Bond, but then they want newer, better versions of it. And I'm like, then just move on from Bond, because Spectre gave us very much the Bond formula.
Yeah.
We have a stereotypical bad guy. We have the pretty women, but then also Daniel Craig is trying to act his ass off, and it's like, buddy, it ain't that gay.
They were doing a different thing with the Daniel Craig ones. They were trying to make it more serious, like.
Yeah.
Because it like the Roger Moore stuff is very cartoony, and the Timothy Dalton stuff people just didn't like very much. There's only a couple of them. The Pierce Brosnan movies I liked, but they're very slick. And I think they were going for like more like that opening scene of Casino Royale like that's in black and white or whatever, where he's just getting tortured. Like I was like, oh, this is a
Yeah.
different James Bond. They're doing something different here. Um,
Yeah.
but it's a brand that people recognize, and it cuts your advertising dollars in half. Like it's way harder you have to spend more to talk people into a spy movie that's not something that you can shorthand. Like everybody knows what Mission Impossible is. Boom, you can sell it. Everybody knows what James Bond is. Boom, you can sell it. Mr. New Spy fella, um, like, why do I care about this guy? We got this Bond character and we got this Ethan Hunt guy. What else do I need? Oh, I got I got La Familia racing their cars and shit. Like that's kind of the same thing, but I don't have to like, like you're not gonna. I don't think anyone's gonna do like a movie, like a big budget movie about a ring of car thefts that are not Fast and Furious movies.
Well, then, dear audience, unfortunately, we have to stand together and just demand better, okay?
Better Bond.
Also, like, you can't tell me that you're not mad about spending money at the movie theaters. I, like you, am only going to the Marvel stuff now, and even then, I may not have to see Wicked because of how many trailers they've been putting out.
Right.
I bet I can piece all of that together and be like, bam, there's the musical.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
First acting.
There's actually a number of things I'd like to go see in the theater. I don't have time right now, which is like kind of irritating.
There's that too.
But the cost of going is prohibitive. Like, oh, I got a family of 3, so it's $50 to get in the door, and then you got to buy another $50 worth of garbage food.
Now, why aren't you like the rest of us, cool commoners, sneaking in food?
No, we do that, but I want the popcorn. Like,
oh, I can make better.
Yeah, it's something about movie theater popcorn. I really like it. I like it. I like it in the theater. I make good popcorn too. I love making popcorn at home, but I like movie theater popcorn. So, but we will we'll totally smuggle in. I mean, I've heard of people smuggling things into the movie theater. That's something.
Throw myself under the bus. I love smuggling in food.
Here's the only reason that I'm like whatever about it. Like, it's all too expensive. But listening to Kevin Smith talk about owning a movie theater, which he does now in New Jersey, he's like, it is so hard to make money and keep a movie theater in business. Like, we only make money on the concession stand.
No, I know.
So, like, if you want the movie theater to stay in business, buy some treats. Because like his stuff is like, because the like your ticket price, I could say it's $15. Half of that goes to like the studio, the production company.
Surprised it's only half.
It might be more, but there's a deal struck between the studios and the theater owners about the split for the tickets. So the theater itself only gets about half of that, and what they get, they have to, pay employees and shit, keep the lights on, like all of that kind of stuff. So, but the money that they make on the concession stand is theirs. They don't have to give any of that to the studio, which is like, if you want movie theaters to stay around, which I very much do because I love going to the movies, buy some popcorn, I guess. But it is fucking expensive. It's real dumb.
I'll start buying one thing because I love going to independent cinemas. It's always way out of the way, but it's totally worth it, and I highly recommend everyone look up the independent cinemas in your area.
I agree. All right, what else time? This is definitely Roger Moore's defining role.
Yes.
He's a Bond. Like anyone who played Bond is their defining role. That's how that goes. That's the only reason I know George Lazenby's name.
Fair.
Maud Adams Octopussy might be her defining role.
I think so.
Obviously Victor Maitland, this is not his defining role.
No, it's not.
So we referred to him by another character name the entire time. Um, Anybody else?
No, it's not Louis Jordan's defining role because I did see he was in Gigi. Um,
No. Okay. We didn't
it's
watch that one.
I haven't seen it either, and from the description I don't think I would like it.
Yeah.
The 2024 lens, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Oh, he was in an episode of Hotel too, and Vegas, and Charlie's Angels. We got multiple. Yeah, he did a lot of spelling stuff. Did an episode of Columbo.
And sadly, it's probably the defining role of the diverse cast mates.
Yeah, that's true. What do you have for what else time? Because I have another question to ask you. But
Oh, I'm so glad you asked because my costumer I was intrigued by why the white coats in James Bond? Why always? And so I was looking it up because I thought,
oh,
is this white tie or black tie? And it makes sense. It is black tie because it's a black tie.
yep.
But black tie means, white jacket, black everything else. And it was invented in the 30s so that upper crust people could still dress well, but in lighter colored materials so they weren't sweltering. So
Gotcha.
so that makes sense that in anytime Bond is in a warmer climate, he's in a black tie attire.
Okay, that does make sense. I like that.
Yeah.
Look at that, learning shit.
I know. I love knowing these little things. Like, obviously, if you're certain tier of status, then you don't have to know these things, or they're just going out of style all around. And it's, again, in the arts, it's good to know.
You know what it made me think of was Holy Grail, where King Arthur is by the constitutional peasant, and somebody says something like, how do you know he's a king? And she says, because he hasn't got shit all over him. That's what I thought of with the white coat. You can only wear the white coat if you're pretty sure you're not going to get shit all over you.
Yes.
Okay, here's my other what else? There is a fantastic scene in an episode of Buffy, which we will get to at some point in our watchings because Buffy's fucking awesome. But every season of Buffy, there's a big bad, right? Mm-hmm. And a bunch of other stories that are monster of the week kind of thing, kind of like the X-Files. But the big bad isn't like the mythology of the whole thing. It's like each season there's a big bad, like the Master in the first season. And there's one season where the big bad is 3 nerdy kids. They're so funny. They're so good.
The Lone Gunman?
No, not the Lone Gunman, but they are Lone Gunman adjacent. And they have a big black van that they're using to surveil Buffy, but one of them painted the Death Star on the side of it.
Wow.
So that's not very inconspicuous. Plus, they painted the Return of the Jedi unfinished Death Star on it, which they have a whole argument about, which is so great. But the 3 of them are in the front of their car arguing about who the best Bond is. And one of them says Sean Connery, and one of them says Roger Moore, and it gets more and more heated. And the third guy says Timothy Dalton. He says Timothy Dalton should win an Oscar and beat Roger Moore over the head with it.
Oh my God.
He is strong for the Timothy Dalton Bond. So who is your favorite Bond? Is it Timothy Dalton, and should he beat Roger Moore over the head with his Oscar?
No, he shouldn't. I really like Roger Moore.
I do too, but his movies are fucking silly.
No, they are, but I kind of like that. I like Bond making fun of itself and being like, this is stupid.
Right.
Why do we think this? I mean, even how calm he stays is comical. I'm like, any logical person, any rational person would be a little panicked right now or thinking like, at some point, oh, well, I could die on this one.
Yeah.
because the body fights to survive. You know,
Right.
no matter what the mind is thinking or accepting, the body fights to survive.
Yeah, that's true. I'm looking at uh, Roger Moore might be my favorite too, but like he's in like so here's the top 10 rated Bond movies.
Okay.
Goldfinger, Connery. From Russia with
Yeah.
Love, Connery. Doctor No, Connery. Casino Royale and Skyfall, both Daniel
Right.
Craig. Then back to Connery for Thunderball. Then back to Craig, No Time to Die. Not till number 8 do you get a Roger Moore, The Spy Who Loved Me.
Wow.
And then you get Lazenby. And then you jump to Pierce Brosnan, Goldeneye. And you don't get another Roger Moore until number 15 at For Your Eyes Only.
Mm.
And then Live and Let Die. And then a couple more Daniel Craig movies. Connery, and then Moonraker at number 20. Which is, I can't believe Moonraker is that high. Moonraker is the lowest rated movie on this list that has a fresh score in Rotten Tomatoes. It is a 60.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Tomorrow Never Dies is the next one under that, and that's Pierce Brosnan. So, but like the bottom of the barrel ones, A View to a Kill, Golden Gun, Octopussy, the bottom 3 are Roger Moore, and that's like, and he only did 7. So like half of his are the 3 worst.
Haters.
And I still like Roger Moore as Bond, even though
I do too.
like Moonraker's stupid, and Moonraker's not even the bottom of the barrel for him. Like,
Yeah.
so, I don't know. Timothy Dalton is my least favorite.
I haven't seen his yet.
Yeah, and a couple of them are highly ranked, but they didn't do really all that well. Yeah, Living Daylights and Living Daylights is the highest rated. Or no, License to Kill and Living Daylights are both pretty close to one another, 11 and 13. So they're highly rated, but they didn't do all that well. So, piss off. We're going to bring in Remington Steele. All right, what is your EST?
So earlier in the film, when Octopussy and Khan are talking, she says no to some part of the plan or whatever, or just overall plan. And he says something along the lines of, I hear your no and imagine it won't turn into a yes. So,
right.
And I went, this might be the first time in a Bond movie that a man has acknowledged a woman's no.
Right.
Sort of accepted it. Like, he didn't really accept it, but he accepted it enough to be like, well, I'm going to go off and do my own thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you. But I was really impressed with that moment. All she said was, no. And he took that as the full sentence it is.
Yep.
Still had to have the final word, but he acknowledged it and he left, and ladies, we got another one.
Nice job.
Ladies and NBs, we got another one. Yay.
Nice job with your huge vaginas stealing eggs and things. Yeah, good job, you guys.
We tried.
I mean, this is the silliest Bond movie. I mean, even though Moonraker is the most, for me, ridiculous, implausible. Just like, what are you even fucking doing in this movie? But I just didn't expect this movie to be played for yucks the way that it is. So, that's what this is for me. All right, I think that we have once again proven my theory that everything comes back to Aaron Spelling.
Absolutely.
Even fucking Octopussy.
An Octopussy. Who knew?
Who knew? Maud Adams knew. She's like, I've been in everything. All Aaron Spelling and all James Bond. I'm in both. So join us here next week, Cheesemeisters, when I'm not sure what we're going to watch, because we need to find something that has a school dance in it. And there's so many options, and we just haven't decided yet. So
Yeah.
we're gonna properly honor Home and Away, but I don't know how we're gonna do it yet. But I join us here next week, Cheesemeisters, when we're gonna form a circle. You are personally invited by Brandon Walsh to join us and form a circle. Even if there is only one chaperone who's a sucker for girls in party shoes. Yep. All right. So until then, Cheesemeisters. Cheers.
Cheers.